In this video, I'll be discussing how healthy life extension is shown in the fantasy The Witcher. The main characters of the series undergo large-scale mutations to acquire special powers necessary to fight monsters inhabiting their homeland. Hi, this is the Longevity Culture channel, and I'm your host, Elena Milova. Here we are discussing life-extending biotechnologies. We look at how they are pictured in the movies and books, and we speculate which ones have the best chances to enter our life in the next decades. If you are curious about that, you are welcome to hit the subscribe button and click the bell to receive notifications of my new episodes. Careful, there will be spoilers. Is it possible to induce mutations that will greatly extend human life and increase strength and velocity? Are there any subspecies of human race who live longer? Is it truly necessary to reduce fertility in order to gain radical life extension? Let's begin. The Witcher series, written by Andrzej Sapkowski, describes the world originally inhabited by the elves, dwarves, and dryads after the arrival of human colonists. A series of territorial conflicts follow, and human race that is breeding much faster than others gradually becomes dominant on the continent. Around 500 years before the events of the book series, the world experienced yet another major disaster, so-called conjunction of the spheres. During this merge between several dimensions, the continent became populated with werewolves, vampires, spirits, demigods, and all sorts of mutated beasts and monsters. The human race needed to protect itself from the invasion of beasts, and it took a decision to create human-like mutants, the Witchers, to battle with the monsters and keep the population safe. Because of the mutagen, the Witchers are sterile. However, they are very strong, very fast, and have extended lifespans compared to the ordinary humans. Humans were also learning from elven sorcerers how to use magic for various purposes, from healing to traveling with portals and self-defense. Over time, human mages became well organized, founded a guild and schools to teach magic to those who possessed the ability to control this power. The books and the movie series The Witcher by Netflix are telling a story of the Witcher called Geralt of Rivia. This renowned fighter traveled the country, killing monsters nesting too close to human villages and busy roads. And on his way, he would make friends with all sorts of people and a few enemies too. One day, Geralt comes to the ceremony of matchmaking of the ruling family of Sintra, one of the strong kingdoms of the continent. The queen wants to marry her daughter to an important ally, but the girl is strongly against it because she already has someone else in her heart, a poor knight Denny from Erlenbalde. When her lover comes to claim her hand, the soldiers attack him, but Geralt takes his side. After a good old fight involving some magic, the conflict is resolved. The queen approves the marriage, and in gratitude for his help, Denny grants Geralt a traditional wish. By the law of surprise, he is willing to give Geralt something he has, which he doesn't know about. Turns out Geralt's prize is the baby girl that the princess recently conceived. This baby is now destined to be with Geralt, but because it's a child from the royal family, Geralt assures the ruling queen that he won't take her away, as he only cares about the child's being happy and healthy. Geralt continues his journey to fight monsters elsewhere, and young Princess Ciri stays in the castle of Sintra. Declining the gift of destiny was a big mistake. As the young Princess Ciri grows, the powers of destiny keep boiling around her and transforming the world to unite her with Geralt, leading to political tensions and wars around Sintra. The parallel storyline is devoted to a young sorceress, Yennifer of Vergerberg. As all high-rank sorceresses, during her transformation, Yennifer became sterile. The young woman is very ambitious. After traveling the world as a royal counselor for several decades, she is still not happy with the infertility imposed on her and keeps looking for a cure. One day, Yennefer and Geralt meet. He asks her for a favor, and as repayment, he gives her a magical artifact controlling a genie. Yennefer tries to use this genie to cure her infertility, but things go very wrong. As a result, the magical powers intertwine Geralt and Yennefer with a love bond. The law of surprise binds Geralt to Ciri only a few years later, and since then, these three people are destined to make a very difficult and very dangerous journey trying to save the world from the attack of evil spirits that undermine the order of things as a consequence of the conjunction of the spheres. It's quite difficult to translate the mystical language of a medieval fantasy to modern days, but I'll do my best. Let's discuss the Witchers first. Is it possible to induce such dramatic changes in one's DNA as to significantly increase strength, velocity, and longevity? Apart from undergoing mutations as children, the Witchers used all sorts of potions that would grant him a night vision or improved hearing. Both the initial mutagen and those potions look pretty much like gene therapies. What is a gene therapy? The nucleus of our cells have special polymers inside, called DNA, that work as an instruction for producing everything that the cell needs for its function. DNA is present in our cells during all the life course. However, as cells divide and get replaced, the DNA gets slightly damaged. Over time, this damage leads to a mistake in the instruction, and the function of the cell can be reduced. DNA damage is one of the recognized processes of aging. The research community is trying to find a way how one can fix the DNA damage, and it's already clear from animal studies that it's possible. A gene therapy is a method of changing the instructions in our DNA by introducing or removing small chunks of DNA. As of now, there are 18 clinically tested and approved gene therapies in the world. Most of them are for specific genetic diseases like hemophilia or for cancer treatment, but there is one for growing new vessels in the leg and another one to cure spinal muscular atrophy. There is also an experimental gene therapy to counteract age-related sarcopenia, but it will take time to prove its effect. An interesting fact about gene therapies is that some of them are permanent, while others are transient. It depends on the place where the DNA gets inserted. If it's inserted into the DNA chain in the nucleus, it will likely be permanent. If it's inserted into the liquid part of the cell, but not in the nucleus, then the effect won't last, because those chunks of DNA don't get repaired as they get damaged by the cell's internal machinery. Once they are destroyed, the effect of the gene therapy will fade. In case of the Witchers, they likely undergo a permanent gene therapy in the beginning of their training, while their potions can be transient gene therapies, temporarily granting them new abilities. And of course, nobody can rule out that their potions are simply a doping. Are there any subspecies of human race who live longer? The long-lived creatures of the Sapkowski universe are elves, dwarves, vampires, the Witchers, and the Sorcerers. Elves and dwarves were made that way, vampires as well. One of the powers of vampires is true immortality, which means that only another higher vampire can destroy one of his kind. In all other cases, instead of dying, vampires enter a coma-like regenerative state, slowly recovering over a long period of time. The Witchers are supposedly made with gene therapies, and the Sorcerers are born as ordinary people or elves, but the magical energy running through them is granting them an extended lifespan. If I had to pick an example of a subpopulation with extended lifespans that exist on Earth, I would recall of the blue zones, several countries in the world where people's life expectancy is surprisingly high. One of them is Okinawa in Japan, another one is Sardinia in Italy. It's not clear to what extent the longevity of the local population is explained by genetics though, because on Okinawa, for instance, they have very low-calorie diets. In the case of Sardinia, the elderly people enjoy very high psychological resilience and strong social ties, likely coming from cultural aspects of the country. These good psychological conditions likely contribute to their prolonged health. Another real subpopulation that may have a predisposition to longevity are the people with Laron Syndrome. Their system is lacking sensitivity to growth factors. Those people don't grow as tall, but they are generally healthy. Since growth factors play an important role in cancer development, their condition can apparently postpone or even prevent some forms of cancer, and that allows those people to live longer. But there are, of course, downsides related to their modest height. The last question inspired by the movie. Is it truly necessary to reduce fertility or even castrate people in order to gain radical life extension? Biologically, it's not necessary. On the contrary, the longer our reproductive system works fine, the better health we have. You may not know this, but the very first therapy for life extension that exists for many decades is a hormone replacement therapy. By extending the production of estrogen long past menopause, many women were granted better health as they were growing older. By the way, it's not a medical advice. You must not use any drugs without consulting with a doctor first. It will take time until gene therapies or even drugs for age control will be developed. But by watching the movies like The Witcher, we can at least imagine what extended lifespans can look like and what opportunities they can bring. I can't help it but envy the sorceress who could accumulate knowledge and wisdom over several centuries. And now a small bonus for those of you who aspire healthy life extension. Here are 3 things you can do to start managing your age. One of them is pictured in the movie about The Witcher. First, progress in your career. Second, maintain your personal hygiene. And next, be creative. That's all for today. You are welcome to subscribe and to share your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my views on this movie, and feel free to suggest movies to review in my next episodes. Bye!